Welcome to Lakeview Maidens Softball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union. A pleasant hello and good afternoon, my friends, on this Friday afternoon. We are live from Maiden Field. As for Lakeview, the Maidens, they'll play in their final game of the 2021 regular season as the Maidens come into today's game on this Friday with an overall record of 10-17 on the season and 2-7 in the District 3 4A. While for Snyder, the Later Tigers, they are 11-16 on the season and 5-4 in the district, and they are in third place overall. While for Lakeview, they have been eliminated from playoff contention. They are in fifth place as they'll play in their final game of the season. As for the Maidens, they defeated Lubbock Estacado on Tuesday, 6-4. Meanwhile, for Snyder, they lost on Tuesday to Sweetwater, 12-2. As for Lakeview, in their final game of the regular season in this 21 campaign. Well, while we have a moment, let's take a look at the District 3 4A softball standings entering today's matchups. As Sweetwater, they are in first place with a record of 9-0 in district play, 16-8-1 overall in the season. While for Big Spring, they are 7-2 in the district in second place and 10-11 on the season. While for Snyder, they are 5-4 in district play and 10-16 on the season. As for Levelland, they are in fourth place with a 4-5 record and 12-16-1 on the year. As for Lakeview, they are in fifth place with a 2-7 district record and 10-16 overall. And Lubbock Estacado, they are in sixth place. They are in the cellar with a 0-9 record in the district and 3-25 on the year. While we have a moment, let's give you today's starting lineups. First for the Snyder Tigers, as they are led by second-year head coach Bianca Gonzalez. Avas will lead it off for the Tigers at second base. Kara Galvan is the shortstop batting second. Alyssa Hurt is the pitcher. She bats third. Maya Brazil is at first base and batting fourth. Melanie Garcia is the center fielder. She'll bat fifth. Alea Brazil is the left fielder hitting sixth. Batting seventh as a third baseman is Madrid. Hitting eighth as the designated player is Hernandez. And batting ninth in right field is Saley Hernandez. So now let's pause for the playing of the national anthem.
Football fans, stop by Wingstop in Southwest Plaza before or after the game. We have the best wings in town and offer curbside pickup and delivery. So stop by Friday night and celebrate with Wingstop on Knickerbocker Road.
Best Tech Supply is a proud sponsor of Concho Valley Football. I invite you to stop by our new location at 4512 Adobe Drive for all your herbicide, insecticide, fertilizer, and outdoor power equipment needs. Bestex also carries a large selection of Green Mountain grills and K2 coolers for all your tailgating events. For knowledgeable advice of your lawn and landscaping, as well as service of your outdoor power equipment long after the sale, call us here at Bestex, 653-1300.
For a healthy lawn and landscape, visit Best Tech Supply or besttex.com.
Angelo RO Express is San Angelo's local affordable drinking water choice. Water plays a vital role in our daily life, and having the best drinking water for your family is important. Rent a quality reverse osmosis system starting at $28.50 a month with a free local standard installation. So why overpay for something you can get right here for less?
Call my Uncle Larry.
You heard the girl. Call Angelo RO Express at 325-277-8611 for affordable drinking water.
We all want to get back to the way things used to be. Going to concerts, cheering for our teams in a packed stadium, dancing the night away with our friends. But if we truly want things to go back to the way they were, we need everyone to come together.
Regular season. So while we have a moment, Here now are the starting lineups for Lakeview, as Velez will lead it off in the center field, as playing center field. Wagner will bat second in as the catcher. Alexis Williams will hit third as the first baseman. Ashlyn Carrillo will bat fourth as the designated player. Tatum Aguirre bats fifth as the pitcher. Skylar Lacey hits sixth as the shortstop. Landra Williams will bat seventh at second base. Reagan Reeves will hit eighth in right field. And Carol Vella will hit ninth as the left fielder for Lakeview with a 10-16 record and 2-7 in district play. As for Lakeview, as the home team, they are dressed in their blue jerseys with the gray pants, and for Snyder with the black jerseys and the black pants here this afternoon in the final game of the regular season for the Lakeview Maidens. We're glad that you're with us today on this Friday afternoon in the, once again, the final game of the regular season for Lakeview. Like to end this season on a positive note as they look ahead to next season, as we are in the final week, really the final part of the month of April. We'd also like to thank our producer and director, Shay Harris, for all of his help. He was here at around 2:30 this afternoon in his preparation, getting everything ready here today for us on the Concho Sports Network. So I'd like to thank Mr. Harris for all of his hard work during this regular season. Also, actually dating back to football season with the Lakeview football team, and also the Central broadcast, and also for basketball season and baseball, and also for softball. As the Maidens have completed their final warm-ups, and we're almost ready to begin here. 5 o'clock start. Here's Central Time here in San Angelo, here at Meyer Field. 200 down the left and the right field lines, and 225 in center field. As the first inning is brought to you by Wingstop on Knickerbocker Road. As for the Tigers, there's Avels, the second baseman, on the first pitch. It's a ground ball comebacker to Aguirre. Throws over to first in time for the out. 1 pitch, 1 out. As Aguirre fields that in the pitcher's circle and throws over to first. Here now is the shortstop, Kara Galvin. Galvin on the season, sporting a .403 batting average with 1 home run, 10 knocked in, and has 5 triples, which leads the team. As Galvin climbs into the left side of the batter's box, here's the first pitch as she punches it foul behind home plate for strike 1. Let's give you the defense for the Maidens this afternoon. Caravella is in left field. Velez is in center and Reeves is in right. Taylor Martinez is the third baseman. Lacey is the shortstop, as her father is the public address announcer today. Landra Williams is at second base, and Alexis Williams is at first, and Wagner is behind the plate. 1 ball and 1 strike is the count to Galvin. We're just underway. 1 out, no score. There's a tap right to the pitcher's circle to Aguirre. Throws over to first, not in time, so that is an infield hit single for Snyder, and that is their first hit of the game. And this brings up the pitcher, Alyssa Hurt. As Hurt for Snyder, batting a .397 clip with 2 home runs and 16 knocked in. She has 11 doubles, which leads the team. As Hurt is a right-handed batter. 1 out, 1 on in the top half of the first. No score. Here's the first pitch, and there is a throw down to second, and the runner is safe. So Galvin with a stolen base as she swipes the bag, and it's a strike as the count. 0-1 is the count out to Alyssa Hurt. Just underway. No score. As the last time these teams played, Snyder won big time over Lakeview. As for the Maidens, they are looking for a win in their final game of the regular season. Here's the 0-1 pitch, and that is slapped down the left field line. That's foul. And the count is no balls and 2 strikes to Alyssa Hurt. Snyder with the game's first hit, an infield hit single by Galvin, the shortstop. as the throw from Gary was not in time. As for Snyder on the season, 11-16 on the year, 5-4 in district play on this Friday afternoon. Glad that you're with us here today on the Concho Sports Network. Here's the 0-2 pitch, swinging a ground ball to the shortstop. Lacey throws over to first in time for the out, for out number 2, as Galvin advances from second to third. So we have 2 outs and a runner on third. This brings up Maya Brazil. As Brazil, for the Tigers, has a .375 batting average, 1 home run, and 8 knocked in. So we have 2 outs and a runner on third. No score. Top half of the first. Here's the first pitch. That is a called strike down the pipe to Brazil. As for Lakeview, eliminated from playoff contention, here's the 0-1 pitch. That's fouled behind the screen, behind home plate. No balls and 2 strikes. 2 outs here in this top half of the first. As for Lakeview, they defeated Lubbock Estacado on Tuesday, 6-4. Here's the 0-2. That is high and away off the plate. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Here's the 1-2 pitch, and that is just outside, and the count's now even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. We are live from Maiden Field, just from the campus of Lakeview High School. Here's the 2-2 pitch, swinging a high pop fly, foul ground, and that will bend out of play. 2 balls and 2 strikes. No runs on 1 hit for the Tigers. A runner on third base at the moment. Brazil is the batter for Snyder. And here is the 2-2 pitch, swinging a pop fly into right field. And that will drop foul down the right field line. So the count remains at 2 balls and 2 strikes. On a beautiful day here in San Angelo on this Friday afternoon, as the wind is blowing from right field to left field. So if you have time on this Friday, just come on out to Maiden Field to check out some great softball action. Here's the 2-2 pitch, popped on a 1-hitter to the second baseman, and the throw is not in time as the run scores. So that is an infield hit single and an RBI for Brazil. As Galvin scores, that it's now 1-0. So Snyder now with their second hit of the game, and they have struck first with a run here in the top half of the first, and they lead 1-0 for Melanie Garcia, the center fielder. There's the first pitch, is high and away for ball 1 to Garcia. Garcia on the season, sporting a .333 batting average, 3 home runs and 12 knocked in. As the 1-0 pitch is up and inside, ball 2 to Garcia, the center fielder. So for Snyder, they've scored a run already in this top half of the first, 1 run on 2 hits. Gary from the pitcher's circle. Here's the 2-0 pitch. That is fouled back. 2 balls and a strike. So for Snyder in this first, Galvin with a infield hit single with 1 out. Hurt grounded out to the shortstop, and Brazil hit an infield hit single and an RBI to score Galvin to give Snyder an early 1-0 advantage. 2 balls and a strike. Here's the 2-1 pitch. That is upstairs, and the count now runs to 3 balls and a strike. As Aaliyah Brazil, the left fielder, waits on deck for Snyder as they quickly have a 1-0 lead against the Maidens. Here's the 3-1 pitch. Fastball is upstairs, ball 4. So a 2-out walk. Garcia trots down to first, and Brazil goes to second. This brings up Aaliyah Brazil, the left fielder. For the Tigers, Aaliyah Brazil with a .375 batting average. There's the pitch. Curveball is low and inside below the knees, ball 1. Aaliyah Brazil with a .375 clip, 1 home run and 8 knocked in. As for Snyder, they have runners on first and second. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Snap throw down to first, and the runner is back. Garcia standing on the bag. 2 balls and no strikes is to count to Aaliyah Brazil, with Maya Brazil at second due to an infield hit single and an RBI. And Melanie Garcia has walked. Here's the 2-0 pitch. That is low and outside for ball 3. So Tatum McGarry retired 2 out of the first 3 batters, but now has given up a single and a walk. And Snyder with a quick 1-0 advantage. Here's the 3-0 pitch, and that is low for ball 4. So back-to-back walks issued by McGarry, and bases are now loaded with 2 outs as the infielders are now talk to Tatum McGarry. Had a fine start as she retired the first 2 out of 3 batters, but now since then, as Maya Brazil has hit an infield hit single and an RBI, Garcia has walked and Aaliyah Brazil has walked, and this brings up Madrid, the third baseman. As Madrid on the season has a .367 batting average, 6 home runs and 24 knocked in. As Madrid, she leads Snyder with 6 home runs and those 24 knocked in, so she is a very dangerous person at the plate. And here's the first pitch. It's a curveball called strike at the inside edge. So for Tatum McGarry, she has to get out Madrid in this situation. Here with 2 outs, and Snyder leading by a score of 1-0. Here's the 0-1 pitch. There's a pop fly into center field, and it's dropped there by Velez as a run scores. And here comes another one, and that will clear the bases. As for Madrid, as she hits a pop fly into center field, which was dropped, as Maya Brazil scores, Garcia scores, and also Aaliyah Brazil scores. So it's now 4-0. So will that be ruled as a hit or an error there?
I put it down as a hit.
It's a hit, okay. So it's a double and 3 RBIs for Madrid.
I could be wrong.
And here now is Gabby Hernandez, and now quickly the count is no balls and 2 strikes.
It's an error. My bad.
It's an error, okay, so that will be ruled as an error. E8, error on the center fielder.
Okay. Probably. Strike.
So now it's no balls and 2 strikes. It's to count to Gabby Hernandez with 2 outs.
No balls, 2 strikes. Shouldn't be.
So for Snyder in this frame, leading by score of 4-0 as the 0-2 pitch is slice foul down the left field line. So for Snyder in this frame, 4 runs on 2 hits and an error. So this is not the start that for Lakeview that they're looking for, and starting pitcher Tatum McGarry. Gabby Hernandez is the designated player for Snyder. Here's the 0-2 pitch, and that is a ball. 1 ball and 2 strikes is to count to Gabby Hernandez, who has a .294 batting average, no home runs, and 8 knocked in. So what a big inning by Snyder. All the damage really occurred after 2 outs. Here's the 1-2 pitch. That is high and away, and the count's even up 2 balls and 2 strikes. So for Snyder, after 2 outs, Maya Brazil had an infield hit single. She scored. Garcia walked and scored, and Aaliyah Brazil, she walked and scored. And here's the 2-2 pitch. That's grounded foul wide of third, 2 balls and 2 strikes. And for Madrid, reached base on an error as 3 runs were able to score due to that error in left center field, as Velez was unable to make that catch, fighting the win out there in left center field. Because here at Maidens Field, we have 200 down the left and the right field lines and 225 in straightaway center field. 4-0 is our score. Snyder on top. Here's the 2-2 pitch, and that is a base hit into left field. And stopping at third base is Madrid. So for Gabby Hernandez, she gets on, and that is now the 3rd hit in this frame. So runners are at the corners for the Tigers, and this brings up Saley Hernandez. Saley Hernandez is the right fielder. And she's batting at the Mendoza line at 200 with no home runs and 9 knocked in. Here's the first pitch. That's upstairs and high at the letters, ball 1. So for Tatum McGarry, this is the 9th batter she has faced in this top half of the first. It's 4-0 as Snyder with a huge lead right from the outset. Here's the 1-0 pitch, swinging the ground ball to the shortstop to Lacey. Throws over to first, and a nice stretch there by Alexis Williams in time for the out to retire the side, but a big inning by Snyder as they score 4 runs on 3 hits, 1 error, and 2 runners left. As we'll go into the last half of the first, our score, it is Snyder 4, and Lakeview will come up the bat. We'll take a short break. This is Lakeview Maidens Softball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union.
Football fans, stop by Wingstop in Southwest Plaza before or after the game. We have the best wings in town and offer curbside pickup and delivery. So stop by Friday night and celebrate with Wingstop on Knickerbocker Road.
Best Tech Supply is a proud sponsor of Concho Valley Football. I invite you to stop by our new location at 4512 Adobe Drive for all your herbicide, insecticide, fertilizer, and outdoor power equipment needs. Bestex also carries a large selection of Green Mountain grills and K2 coolers for all your tailgating events. For knowledgeable advice of your lawn and landscaping, as well as service of your outdoor power equipment long after the sale, call us here at Bestex 653-1300.
For a healthy lawn and landscape, visit Best Tech Supply or besttex.com.
Welcome back to Lakeview Maidens Softball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union. So for the Maidens, as they have surrendered 4 runs in that top half of the first, 4 runs on 3 hits and an error, which led to 3 runs. And for Snyder, they left 2 on base. Here now is Ava Velez. Well, she will lead it off for Lakeview, the center fielder, batting at .250 this season. On the first pitch, hits a 1-hopper to the third baseman, Madrid. Throws over to first in time for out number 1. 5-3 on the play for the Snyder's defense. This brings up the catcher, Michaela Wagner, who leads the Maidens with a .471 batting average on the season. As for Lakeview, they are now in a comeback mode right from the outset as they are down by a score of 4-0. In the bottom half of the first from Maiden Field. Wagner is a right-handed batter, and here's the first pitch, which is low and inside, ball 1. As for Snyder, they're led by second-year head coach Bianca Gonzalez. She graduated from Angelo State University in 2001 as an English major. Here's the 1-0 pitch. That's a called strike at the outside edge. As Coach Gonzalez, she teaches English at Snyder High School and also is an assistant volleyball coach for the school. 1 ball and 1 strike is to count. Here's the 1-1 pitch, and it's lifted down the right field line, foul, and she did not actually play softball as a scholar, as that she always wanted to be in the coaching business. She's very energetic. We had a great conversation with her prior to the broadcast, and she said it's great that that we're covering girls softball here in the region. And I mentioned to Coach Gonzalez that all the credit is due to Shay Harris, our producer and director. Here's the 1-2 pitch, and that is slapped down the right field line for a base hit. As for the Maidens, that's Wagner now going to second, and she slides in safely, and that is a 1-out double down the right field line. And for the Maidens, that is their first hit of the game. This now brings up the first baseman, Alexis Williams, as Williams comes into this Friday game with a .232 batting average. Well, the pitcher for Snyder today is Alyssa Hurt. She will make her 19th start of the season. She has a 7-9 record and a 4.52 earned run average inside the pitcher's circle this season. One out, one on. Here's the pitch as Williams squares up the bunt, and now the throw down to second, and Wagner is safe. And that is a strike to Alexis Williams. As Alyssa Hurt on the season, she has now allowed 116 hits, 90 runs on the year. Here's the 1-0-1 pitch, and they throw down to second once again, and that is a strike. No balls and 2 strikes, so Williams is in the hole. Alyssa Hurt, with those 90 runs, 61 of those runs have been earned, 37 walks. Here's the 0-2 pitch as Williams strikes out swinging for out number 2. That's the first K for Alyssa Hurt. And here is Ashlyn Carrillo. Carrillo on the season sporting a .211 average as the designated player. Alyssa Hurt, meanwhile, with those 37 walks and now 102 Ks on the year as she just struck out Williams. So we have 2 outs. A runner on first. Here is the pitch. And that is a strike down to 100 to plate. And there's a throw over to third. And the runner is out. So Wagner is out on the play to retire the side. So for Lakeview in the first, no runs, 1 hit, and Wagner was picked off third. So at the end of 1 complete our score, it is Snyder 4 and Lakeview 0. Pause for a quick break. This is Lakeview Maidens Softball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union.
Angelo RO Express is San Angelo's local affordable drinking water choice. Water plays a vital role in our daily life, and having the best drinking water for your family is important. Rent a quality reverse osmosis system starting at $28.50 a month with a free local standard installation. So why overpay for something you can get right here for less?
Call my Uncle Larry.
You heard the girl. Call Angelo Oro Express at 325-277-8611 for affordable drinking water.
We all want to get back to the way things used to be. Going to concerts, cheering for our teams in a packed stadium, dancing the night away with our friends. But if we truly want things to go back to the way they were, we need everyone to come together. Wash your hands, wear a mask, and social distance. Together, we can beat this. Together, we'll get back to the way things used to be.
Football fans, stop by Wingstop in Southwest Plaza before or after the game. We have the best wings in town and offer curbside pickup and delivery. So stop by Friday night and celebrate with Wingstop on Knickerbocker Road.
Welcome back to Lakeview Maidens Softball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union. Since it is now 5:22, I just received an alert from my 14-year-old son. He just told me that the NASDAQ made 198 points today. So it's a good day for him, young Sydney. He is a freshman scholar at Central High School as he follows the market. So we now go into the top half of the second. As for Snyder, they lead by a score of 4-0. 4 runs on 3 hits. And for Lakeview, no runs on 1 hit and 1 error, as that error led to 3 runs. Here is now the top of the lineup for Avils. The second baseman, as she grounded out to the pitcher, grounded out to Gary on the comebacker to begin things in that top half of the first. 1 ball and no strikes is the count. As Gary had a good start, retired the first 2 out of 3 batters, and then for Snyder, they poured it on in that first inning as they scored 4 runs on 3 hits and an error. 2 balls and no strikes is the count to the Snyder second baseman. As Gary from the pitcher's circle swing a ground ball to Williams at second, throws over the first in time for out number 1. 1 out here in the top half of the second. Hey fans, would you like to watch Concho Sports Network games on your television live in high definition? All you have to do is install the CSN Roku or Amazon Fire TV app. You can install them now on either device just by searching Concho Sports. We invite you to check it out for the best viewing experience. Here now is Gavan on the first pitch. She fouls that back to the screen for strike 1. As Galvin today, she is 1 for 1, hit an infield hit single down the third base line, stole second and scored the game's first run for Snyder as they scored 4 runs in that top half of the first against Tatum McGarry. Here's the 0-1 pitch. That is outside, ball one. When I was talking about that text to my 14-year-old son, he's also a science and space enthusiast as well. He noted about the SpaceX launch this morning from Florida. Here's the 1-1 pitch. That is a fastball up and away. 2 balls and a strike as SpaceX, led by Elon Musk. Elon Musk, of course, an engineer, and also is really motivating America to this new frontier. Here's a 2-1 pitch. Curveball, swing and a miss. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Galvin. So a very positive day if one is a student, especially here in San Angelo, as far as science and also in mathematics and finance. As for Lakeview, maybe probably looking for make it 3 for 3 here today in San Angelo with a come-from-behind win. Here's a 2-2 pitch. That is a fastball up and in for ball 3. As the wind is coming into our broadcast perch here on the Concho Sports Network in our final home game here for the Maidens this season. Here's a 3-2 pitch. That is fouled out of play, first base side. 3 balls and 2 strikes. This is a very busy weekend for the sporting teams here in San Angelo with baseball and also softball. As the ASU baseball team making a run towards the playoffs. Here's a 3-2 pitch. That is low and inside for ball 4. And that is now the 3rd walk issued by Aguirre this afternoon. And this brings up Alyssa Hurt, the pitcher. As she is 0 for 1, she grounded up to the shortstop. Lacey back in that first. That was when Gary had things under control at the point. But then Snyder scored 4 runs. Here's the first pitch. That is a strike right down the heart of the plate. Runner on first, 1 out, top half of the second. Snyder with a 4-0 lead, 4 runs on 3 hits in this game. They have left 2 runners stranded. Here's the 0-1 pitch. As a nice stop there by Michaela Wagner. And the count is now 1 ball and 1 strike. Michaela Wagner also plays on the Lakeview basketball team. We had a chance to call several of their games this past winter. Here is the 1-1 pitch. That is grounded foul wide of first, and the count's now 1 ball and 2 strikes. Once again, 200 down the left and the right field lines, and 225 in straightaway center field here at Maiden Field. In the final game of the regular season for the Maidens. A very young squad. Great promise for the future. Here's the 1-2 pitch. And that is a off-speed delivery high and away. And the count's even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Here's the 2-2 pitch. 1 hops in front of the plate as Michaela Wagner fakes to throw to first. And the count's now full at 3 balls and 2 strikes. While we have a moment there, my friends, since today is Friday, April 23rd, on this day in sports history and baseball history, actually 100 years ago today, Hall of Fame pitcher Warren Spahn was born today. There's the 3-2 pitch. That's a swing and a miss as Alyssa Hurt strikes out. And that is the first punch out for Tatum Aguirre today. So we have 2 outs. And this top half of the second, this now brings up Maya Brazil. Brazil, the first baseman, hit an infield hit single, an RBI single. On the first pitch, she grounds that foul wide of third for strike 1. And her single scored Galvin to give Snyder an early 1-0 lead, and they tacked on 3 more runs in that first frame. Well, Warren Spahn, well known for his years with the Braves in the 1950s, was actually named after President Warren Harding. As here's the pitch is outside and a quick throw to first, and the runner dives is back, standing up. It's now 1 ball and 1 strike. Galvin is at first due to a walk. We have 2 outs in the top half of the second. Snyder with a 4-0 lead. 1-1 is the count to Brazil. Here is the 1-1 pitch, and that is a called strike right down Broadway. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Well, Warren Spahn, he had a record of 363 wins and 245 losses. Here's the 1-2 pitch, swinging a high pop fly to the second baseman, and the catch is made by Williams to retire the side. So for Snyder in the second, no runs, a walk, and Galvin was left stranded at first. So we'll go into the bottom half of the second hour score. It is Snyder 4 and Lakeview 0. We'll pause for a quick break. We'll be right back in just a moment. This is Lakeview Maidens Softball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union.
Tech Supply is a proud sponsor of Concho Valley Football. I invite you to stop by our new location at 4512 Adobe Drive for all your herbicide, insecticide, fertilizer, and outdoor power equipment needs. Bestex also carries a large selection of Green Mountain grills and K2 coolers for all your tailgating events. For knowledgeable advice of your lawn and landscaping, as well as service of your outdoor power equipment long after the sale, call us here at Bestex 653-1300.
For a healthy lawn and landscape, visit Best Tech Supply or besttech.com.
Angelo, R.O.
Welcome back to Lakeview Maidens Softball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union, as we'll now cruise into the latter half of the second. As for the Maidens, they trail by a score of 4-0. 4 runs on 3 hits, no errors, 3 runners left for Snyder. No runs on 1 hit and an error by Lakeview, which led to 3 runs by Snyder in the top half of the first. Here now is Ashlyn Carrillo, the designated player, as Carrillo sporting a .211 batting average entering today's game. She is a right-handed batter. As for Lakeview, they need 4 runs. And here's the first pitch. That is a called strike on the off-speed delivery. As Alyssa Hurt, so far today, has retired 2 out of 3 batters. She gave up a 1-out double to Michaela Wagner, but Wagner was cut off third. Here's the 0-1 pitch. That's a called strike as well. No balls and 2 strikes. So Carrillo is now into the hole, working against Alyssa Hurt. She is 7-9 on the season at a 4.52 earned run average. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss as Carrillo strikes out. And that is the second K of the game for Alyssa Hurt. So we have 1 out, bases clean. Here now is Tatum McGarry, the pitcher. As Gary on the season, sporting a .268 clip in this 2021 campaign. Gary seeking to redeem herself here with this at-bat. And now here's the first pitch is low for ball 1. Well, Warren Spahn, he had a 3.09 earned run average. And in his career, he struck out 2,583 batters. Very impressive. Warren Spahn. Here's the 1-0 pitch, and that is a curveball. That is a called strike, and the count's even at a ball and a strike. Well, Spahn played for the Boston and also for the Milwaukee Braves in 1942, and also from 1946 to 1964. Here's the 1-1 pitch. That's a called strike. 1 ball and 2 strikes is the count to Gary. He played for the Mets in 1965 and also for the San Francisco Giants. He was a 17-time All-Star. Here's the 1-2 pitch as Gary waves through that low outside pitch away from the strike zone for strike 3. Back-to-back strikeouts now for Alyssa Hurt. And that is now 3 Ks in the game for Alyssa Hurt. So there's 2 outs, bases clean for Lakeview in this bottom half of the second. Here now is Lacey. Lacey is a right-handed batter sporting a .176 clip as the shortstop. Here's the first pitch to Lacey, and that is low and inside ball 1 as her father is the PA announcer this afternoon. I'd like to say hello to Mr. Lacey, filling in this afternoon for Lakeview High School as the public address announcer. Here is the 1-0 pitch, And swing and a miss, and now it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Well, Warren Spahn, he won the World Series in 1957, and his number 21 jersey has been retired by the Braves. Here is the 1-1 pitch. That's fouled back to the screen. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Warren Spahn actually pitched 2 no-hitters in his great career. Of course, Nolan Ryan has 7. And he was a first ballot, talking about Spahn, a first ballot Hall of Famer in 1973. Here's the 1-2 pitch, and that's a fastball that is off the plate. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Baseball now has the Warren Spahn Award, given each year to the Major League's best left-handed pitcher, named in his honor. Here is the 2-2 pitch. That is fouled out of play. First base side counts even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. As we mentioned earlier, that Warren Spahn was named after U.S. President Warren Harding. Harding, of course, was the 29th President of the United States from 1921 to 1923. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss as Lacey strikes out to retire the side. 3 consecutive Ks for Alyssa Hurt. She now has 4 strikeouts in the game as the Maidens go down in order 1, 2, 3. At the end of 2, our score, it is Snyder 4 and Lakeview 0. We'll pause for a quick break. We'll be right back in just a moment. This is Lakeview Maidens Softball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union.
Express is San Angelo's local affordable drinking water choice. Water plays a vital role in our daily life, and having the best drinking water for your family is important. Rent a quality reverse osmosis system starting at $28.50 a month with a free local standard installation. So why overpay for something you can get right here for less?
Call my Uncle Larry.
You heard the girl. Call Angelo Oro Express at 325-277-8611 for affordable drinking water.
We all want to get back to the way things used to be. Going to concerts, cheering for our teams in a packed stadium, dancing the night away with our friends. But if we truly want things to go back to the way they were, we need everyone to come together. Wash your hands, wear a mask, and social distance. Together, we can beat this. Together, we'll get back to the way things used to be.
Football fans, stop by Wingstop in Southwest Plaza before or after the game. We have the best wings in town and offer curbside pickup and delivery. So stop by Friday night and celebrate with Wingstop on Knickerbocker Road.
Welcome back to Lakeview Maidens Softball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union, as we'll now head into the top half of the third, as Melanie Garcia, the center fielder, will lead it off. She walked and scored in the first, and in that first, as Snyder scored 4 runs in that top half of the first frame, and the first pitch is in there for a called strike. Working against Tatum McGarry. McGarry has retired 6 out of 13 batters through 2 innings of work so far. Here is the 0-1 pitch, swinging a high pop fly into center field, and Velez is there. She makes the backhanded catch at center field for out number 1. Good play as she makes up for that miscue in the first inning, as her error allowed 3 runners to score for Snyder, as Snyder then, only leading 1-0, took a 4-0 advantage. So 1 out, bases clean here in the top half of the third. Here is Aaliyah Brazil, the left fielder. She walked and scored in the first. Here's the first pitch, and that's a curveball. That is a called strike right down central. Fans, we're almost at the end of softball and baseball season, and next week will be our last regular season broadcast. So join us on Tuesday, April 27th. Here is the 0-1 pitch. That's popped to the third baseman as Taylor Martinez is there to make the play for out number 2. As on next Tuesday, April 27th, it's Lakeview Chiefs baseball against Lubbock Estacado at 7 o'clock. Then on next Friday, it's the Central Bobcats regular season finale as they'll take on Odessa at 6 o'clock. So watch both games right here on ConchoSports.com. Here's the first pitch. That is grounded foul, as that is Madrid. The batter, 0-1 is the count. And in that first inning, as she hit a fly ball into left center field, as the center fielder, Velez, as she dropped it, which resulted in a three-base error as 3 runners scored, and Madrid advanced to second base on that play, perhaps the biggest play of the game so far, giving Snyder a 4-0 lead. Here is the 0-1 pitch. Fastball is high and away. 1 ball and a strike is the count. So watch both games right here on ConchoSports.com, the Concho Sports Network, Roku and Fire TV apps, YouTube and Facebook. Here is the 1-1 pitch, which one hops in front of the plate, 2 balls and a strike. As we mentioned earlier, a busy weekend ahead here in San Angelo sports, talking about the ASU baseball team. They were on the road this weekend. Here is the 2-1 pitch. That's grounded foul, 2 balls and 2 strikes. As they play at Cameron to begin a 3-game series. As for the Rams, they are now 24-6 on the year. They lost on Tuesday to Lubbock Christian 5-3, which snapped their 4-game winning streak, and they also suffered their first loss at home this year. So the Rams are now 17-1 at Foster Field. Here's a 2-2 pitch. That is outside, 3 balls and 2 strikes. As for Angelo State, they are 19-5 in the Lone Star Conference, second behind West Texas A&M. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Fastball is up and away, ball 4. And that is now the 4th walk issued by Tatum McGarry today. A 2-out walk, and this brings up Gabby Hernandez, the designated player. Hernandez hit a single in her last at-bat and was stranded at first to retire to side when Saley Hernandez grounded out to the shortstop. So we have 2 outs, a runner on first, 4-0 in favor of Snyder, and the first pitch is grounded foul wide of third. Several weeks ago, Angelo State lost 2 out of 3 to West Texas A&M in Canyon on the road. As for Angelo State, after this weekend series, then they'll go to Austin to take on St. Edwards on Tuesday. Here's the 0-1 pitch. As the curveball is up and in, it's now 1 ball and 1 strike is the count. And then next weekend, the Rams are home back in San Angelo as they'll take on UT Permian Basin for a 3-game set. Here is the 1-1 pitch, swing and a miss, strike 2 to Gabby Hernandez. The key player for Angelo State this season has been Josh Elvire, the All-American. Elvire leading the Rams with a .405 clip. Can you imagine that? A .405 batting average. We're almost into late April. He has scored 49 runs on the year. Here's the 1-2 pitch, swinging the ground ball to Martinez. She bobbles it and does not make the throw. And there are runners on first and second with 2 outs. So we'll see how that will be ruled, either an error or an infield hit single.
That's an error.
That's an error. Okay, it's ruled as an error. E5, error on the third baseman. So for Lakeview, that is the 2nd error in this game. This brings up Saley Hernandez, the right fielder. Hernandez is 0 for 1. The first pitch is a fastball high and away, ball 1. Hernandez grounded out to the shortstop, Lacey, to retire to side in the first. So now for Snyder and the third, they have Madrid on second due to a walk, and Hernandez is on first due to an error. Here's the 1-0 pitch, and that's a called strike on the inside edge, a ball and a strike. Well, Josh Elvire also has 49 hits leading Angelo State with 12 doubles, 8 home runs, and 31 ribbies on the season. Here's the 1-1 pitch. One hopper to Martinez, throws over to the first, and time for the out to retire to side. So for Snyder and the third, no runs on no hits, runners left, stranded on first and second. We'll go into the bottom half of the third, our score. It is Snyder 4 and Lakeview 0. We'll pause for a quick break. We'll be right back in just a moment. This is Lakeview Maidens Softball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union.
Best Tech Supply is a proud sponsor of Concho Valley football. I invite you to stop by our new location at 4512 Adobe Drive for all your herbicide, insecticide, fertilizer, and outdoor power equipment needs. Bestex also carries a large selection of Green Mountain grills and K2 coolers for all your tailgating events. For knowledgeable advice of your lawn and landscaping, as well as service of your outdoor power equipment long after the sale, call us here at Bestex 653-1300.
For a healthy lawn and landscape, visit Best Tech Supply or besttech.com.
Angelo RO Express is San Angelo's local affordable drinking water choice. Water plays a vital role in our daily life, and having the best drinking water for your family is important. Rent a quality reverse osmosis system starting at $28.50 a month with a free local station.
Welcome back to Lakeview Maidens Softball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union. As Landy Williams will now lead it off for Lakeview, the second baseman. On the first pitch, she takes a called strike. This is her first at bat in this game. She has a .320 batting average on the season. As for Alyssa Hurt, she is now retired. The last four Lakeview batters dating back to the last half of the first. Here is the 0-1 pitch, swing and a miss. No balls and 2 strikes. So Williams will be followed by Reeves and Vela. 7, 8, 9 in the Lakeview lineup working against Alyssa Hurt. She has retired 5 out of 6 Lakeview batters so far through 2 innings of work. Here's the 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss as Williams strikes out, and that is punch out number 5 for Alyssa Hurt. This brings up the right fielder, Reagan Reeves. Reeves on the season has a .269 batting average as she walks into the right side of the dish. 1 out, bases clean, last half of the third. Snyder leading by a score of 4-0. Here's the first pitch, swing and a miss, strike 1 to Reeves. Well, we can't forget talking about the Angelo State University Rambell softball team. They are 24-6 on the year, and they have been red hot. Here is the 0-1 pitch. That is a curveball low and inside, ball 1. The Rambells have won 10 games in a row. They are now 17-5 at Meyer Field and 9-4 on the road. Here's the 1-1 pitch that is poked down the right field line for a fair ball. And Reeves is on with a single into right field, and it is now hit number 2 in the game for Lakeview. So Reagan Reeves slices one down the right field line for Lakeview's second hit of the game. And here now is Kara Vela. Vela, the left fielder. She has a .357 batting average on the season. 1 on, 1 out in the Lakeview third as they trail 4-0. Bottom half of the third. Here's the first pitch. She squares up the bunt. She takes a strike. Strike 1 is the count to Vela. As for Angelo State, the Rambell softball team, they are in Austin for a doubleheader at St. Edwards, and then we'll play 1 game against St. Edwards on Saturday. Then we'll travel to San Antonio on Sunday. Here's the 0-1 pitch, swing and a miss, a snap throw down to first, and Reeves dives back to the bag on her hands and knees, so it's now no balls and 2 strikes. Is the count to Caravello. As for Angelo State, the Rambells, they have been on a tear. Led by Ashlyn Lerma. She leads the team. How about this? A .422 batting average. Here's the 0-2 pitch, low and outside, ball 1. And Maddie Fernandez, she leads the squad with 9 home runs. So for the Rambells, led by Travis Scott, had a shaky March, but they have come on strong as of late. Here's the 1-2 pitch, swing and a miss as Vela strikes out, and that is now strikeout number 6 for Alyssa Hurt. So we have 2 outs, runner on first. Number 4.
Here now is Ava Velez, the center fielder. Velez is 0 for 1 today, bounced out to the third baseman to begin things in the first. Here's the first pitch, fouled back to the screen, strike 1.
So a busy weekend for Angelo State baseball and also softball. Both teams are on the road. Kind of rare since usually one team is at home on the weekends. Here is the 0-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. Velez is now 0-2. There's a quick throw down to first, which is high, and Reeves will go down to second base. So Reeves is in scoring position. No balls and 2 strikes is the count to Velez. In this bottom half of the third, as Lakeview, they trail by a count of 4-0. 4 runs on 3 hits, no errors, 5 runners left for Snyder. No runs on 2 hits, 2 errors for Lakeview. Here's the 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss as Velez strikes out to retire the side, and that is now K number 7 for Alyssa Hurt. So for Lakeview in the third, no runs, 1 hit, 1 left. We'll go into the top half of the fourth. Our score, it is Snyder 4 and Lakeview 0. We'll pause for a quick break. This is Lakeview Maidens Softball on the Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union.
Angelo RO Express is San Angelo's local affordable drinking water choice. Water plays a vital role in our daily life, and having the best drinking water for your family is important. Rent a quality reverse osmosis system starting at $28.50 a month with a free local standard installation. So why overpay for something you can get right here for less?
Call my Uncle Larry.
You heard the girl. Call Angelo Oro Express at 325-277-8611 for affordable drinking water.
We all want to get back to the way things used to be. Going to concerts, cheering for our teams in a packed stadium, dancing the night away with our friends. But if we truly want things to go back to the way they were, we need everyone to come together. Wash your hands, wear a mask, and social distance. Together, we can beat this. Together, we'll get back to the way things used to be.
Welcome back to Lakeview Maidens Softball on the Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union. We are live from Maiden Field as we now head into the top half of the fourth. As for Snyder, they have a 4-0 lead. As for the Tigers, they scored all 4 of their runs in that first inning. 4 runs on 3 hits, 5 runners left for Snyder. No runs on 2 hits, 2 errors for Lakeview. As for the Tigers, they'll bring up their leadoff hitter, the second baseman, Ayel Evills, and then she'll be followed by Galvin, and then Alyssa Hurt, 1, 2, 3 in the Snyder lineup, working against pitcher Tatum McGarry. She has retired 9 out of 18 batters so far in this contest. So for Snyder, they scored 4 runs on 3 hits in that first, but they've been held in check ever since. Here's the first pitch. That is upstairs for ball 1. As Avils today, she is 0 for 2 as a second baseman for Snyder, and that 1-0 pitch is low and inside goes to the backstop. 2 balls and no strikes. So in the first inning, she grounded out to Gary on a comebacker to the pitcher's circle to first, and grounded out to Williams, the second baseman, in the second. 0 for 2 today. Bats in the crouch. Here is the 2-0 pitch. That's laced into center field for a base hit to begin things here in the fourth. So for Snyder, that is now hit number 4. As Avil singles into center field. Runner on first, nobody out. This now brings up Galvin, the shortstop. Galvin is 1 for 1, singled and scored in the first and walked in the second. As for Snyder, 4 runs on 4 hits in this game. In this District 3-4A matchup. Here's the first pitch. That's butted foul right in front of home plate for strike 1. Tatum McGarry entered today's game with a record of 8-12 and a 5.00 earned run average. While we have a moment, we'll talk about, since today is the 23rd, famous baseball player who wore jersey number 23. How about Kurt Gibson? He played for the Detroit Tigers and also for the LA Dodgers in a career from 1979 to 1990. He had a 17-year career. Nicknamed Gibby,
as he won the National League MVP award in 1988, as Gibson led the Dodgers to the World Series title as they defeated the A's. And in his career, he hit 255 career home runs and had 870 RBIs. Here's the 0-1 pitch, and that is slapped into left field past Lacey for a base hit. Now rounded second and going to third is Avils. Now the throw goes wide of third. Here comes a throw to home plate, and the runner is safe. So Ava Avils, she scores all the way from first base, and now advancing to third base is Galvin on the play. So it's now 5-0 in favor of Snyder. So when it rains, it pours. So Galvin goes all the way to third base. And now, with an RBI, Avil scores, and here brings up Alyssa Hurt. So Hurt today, she's 0 for 2, grounded to the shortstop and struck out in the second. So back-to-back hits now for the Tigers here in this top half of the fourth. They now have 5 runs on 5 hits in the game. So Alyssa Hurt, she is the only player, Hurt along with Saley Hernandez, who have not reached base so far in today's game. So it's now 5-0. Snyder on top. As we're ready to begin action, resume action as Hurt climbs into the batter's box. Here's the first pitch. Swinging a ground ball to the third baseman. Gets past Martinez, and the run scores as Galvin scores, and it's now 6-0. So give Alyssa Hurt. Looks like that'll be an RBI, single RBI, and advancing to second base. So now 3 consecutive hits for Snyder. So they now have 6 runs on 6 hits in the game. And here now is Maya Brazil. Brazil is 1 for 2. And her last at-bat bounced out to the second baseman, Williams. And Singleton scored in the first. Here's the first pitch. That's high and away off the plate. 1 ball and no strikes to Maya Brazil. So for Snyder, they scored 4 runs on 3 hits in the first. Now have scored 2 runs and 3 hits here in the fourth. Here's a chopper wide of third, and it's foul. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Gets the count to Maya Brazil. So for Snyder, 6 runs on 6 hits in the game. And now leading Lakeview by a huge margin here in this top half of the fourth. So after starting pitcher Tatum McGarry held things in check in the second and third, now has allowed 2 runs on 3 hits. Here's the 1-1 pitch. That's lined down the left field line. That's a fair ball past the third baseman Martinez as Hurt rounds third and she scores, and it's now 7-0. So give an RBI double for Maya Brazil down the left field line. And that scores Alyssa Hurt from third. It's now 7-0. 7 runs on 7 hits now for Snyder. And this brings up Garcia, the center fielder. Garcia walked and scored in the first and flat out to the center fielder, Velez, in the third. So for Lakeview, now in a deep hole here in the top half of the fourth with nobody out, a runner on second for Garcia, and she chops a foul right down. We'll see how that is ruled.
It's a strike.
That's a strike, okay? So that's strike 1. It's butted foul right in front of home plate. So 0-1 is the count to Garcia with Maya Brazil at second base. And for Snyder, 4 consecutive hits to begin things here in this fourth. So that's now it's confirmed it's an out. So Garcia has grounded out. And so we have 1 out here in the top half of the fourth. And now this brings up Aaliyah Brazil, the left fielder, as Brazil today is 0 for 1. Here's the first pitch as outside for ball 1. Aaliyah Brazil in her last at-bat in the third popped out to Taylor Martinez, the third baseman, in the third, and walked and scored in the first. So 4 hits so far in this top half of the fourth. Here's the 1-0 pitch, swinging a fly ball, which drops into right field for a hit. And now sliding into second base, and she is safe. So Brazil give her a double into right center field, and advance into third base is Maya Brazil. So we have the Brazils on base, Maya Brazil at third, and Aaliyah Brazil at second. And that is now hit number 8 in the game for Snyder. This now brings up Madrid, the third baseman. As Madrid and the third walked, was left stranded at second base and the third. 1 out, runners on second and third for Snyder. And here's the first pitch. That goes to the backstop, and the runners do not advance. It's ball 1.
That's a strike you call.
So they call it a strike. 0-1 is the count. So for Tatum McGarry, the wheels are now starting to fall off here in this top half of the fourth. Here's the pitch and a ground ball fair down the third base line as Brazil scores, Maya Brazil scores, and Aaliyah Brazil scores. And it's now 9-0 and give Madrid a 2-run RBI double down the third base line as 2 runs score.
I would think that was an error.
And they call it as an error.
Yeah, she tried for it. Hit her.
Error on the third baseman, Taylor Martinez. And it is now 9-0 for Snyder with only 1 out. Boy, oh boy. So an error for Martinez, and that is the third error for Lakeview today. Has 2 more runs score. 5 runs have scored here in this top half of the fourth for Snyder, and they have a convincing 9-0 lead. Now it is Gabby Hernandez is now the next hitter for Snyder. She is 0 for 2, singled to left center in the first, was left stranded at first, and then the third reached base on an error by the third baseman, Taylor Martinez. So Martinez has committed 2 errors today. Here's the first pitch, swinging a ground ball to the shortstop as Lacey throws over the first in time for out number 1. So Gabby Hernandez grounds out to the shortstop, Lacey, and advancing to third base on the play is Madrid. So we have 2 outs with a runner at third. This brings up Saley Hernandez. Hernandez is 0 for 2 today. She grounded out to the shortstop, Lacey, in the first, and grounded out to third, Martinez, in the third. Here's the first pitch, swinging a great. It's a base hit, ground ball base hit into left field, an RBI single. And it's now 10-0 as Madrid scores from third base. And now they have 9 hits in the game. So 10 runs on 9 hits in the game. So Saley Hernandez gets on with a single to left field, and that scores Madrid. And it's now 10-0. And for Snyder, they've now batted around. Here now is Avils now. Coming up the bat for the second time in this inning. On the first pitch, he hits a pop fly to the second baseman as Williams makes the catch for the out to retire the side. So, boy, what an inning there for Snyder as they score 6 runs and they leave a runner left. As we'll go into the bottom half of the fourth, our score, it is Snyder 10 and Lakeview 0. We'll pause for a quick break. We'll be right back in just a moment. This is Lakeview Maidens Softball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union.
Football fans, stop by Wingstop in Southwest Plaza before or after the game. We have the best wings in town and offer curbside pickup and delivery. So stop by Friday night and celebrate with Wingstop on Knickerbocker Road.
Best Tech Supply is a proud sponsor of Concho Valley Football. I invite you to stop by our new location at 4512 Adobe Drive for all your herbicide, insecticide, fertilizer, and outdoor power equipment needs. Bestex also carries a large selection of Green Mountain grills and K2 coolers for all your tailgating events. For knowledgeable advice of your lawn and landscaping, as well as service of your outdoor power equipment long after the sale, call us here at Bestex 653-1300.
For a healthy lawn and landscape, visit Best Tech Supply or besttech.com.
Angelo RO Express is San Angelo's local affordable drinking water choice. Water plays a vital role in our daily life, and having the best drinking water for your family is important. Rent a quality reverse osmosis system starting at $28.50 a month with a free local standard installation. So why overpay for something you can get right here for less?
Call my Uncle Larry.
You heard the girl. Call Angelo Oro Express at 325-277-8611 for affordable drinking water.
Here now is Michaela Wagner to lead it off for Lakeview in the bottom half of the fourth, and the first pitch is a ball, high and in, ball one. What an inning by Snyder in that fourth. 6 runs on 6 hits, 1 error, and they left a runner stranded, as they have blown this game wide open as they now lead by a score of 10-0 over Lakeview. 2 balls and no strikes is the count to Michaela Wagner, who today she has swinging a high pop fly, right side, as the second baseman, Evils drops it, and Wagner is safe, so that is an error. Error on the second baseman, E4. So Wagner hits a pop fly, but it's dropped by the second baseman, so error on the second baseman. Here now is Alexis Williams. Williams is 0 for 1 today. She struck out in the first to retire the side. So for the Maidens, looking for base runners, and it's bunted foul, wide of third, strike 1. Well, we talked earlier about Kurt Gibson before Snyder with that onslaught in the top half of the frame. As Kurt Gibson, in 1984, he hit 27 home runs and had 91 runs knocked in, but his best season was in 1985. The Tigers did win the World Series in 19. Ashlyn Carrillo. Carrillo today struck out swinging. That was the second strikeout of the game for Alyssa Hurt. 1 on, 1 out. There's a bunt called strike. Quick throw to first, and the runner's back. As Sparky Anderson, he won the World Series with the Reds back in 1975 when the Reds defeated Boston in the World Series, in which many baseball experts and also sports media. Here's the 0-1 pitch is outside, a high throw, which gets past the first baseman, and sliding safely into second base is Wagner. And it's now is a ball, so it's now 1 ball and 1 strike is the count to Ashlyn Carrillo, with Wagner at second. As for the Maidens, they trail 10-0 here in this last half of the fourth, 1 out. Here's a 2-0 pitch, swing a ground ball up the middle, base hit into center field. Rounding third is Wagner Games. Here's the 0-1 pitch, and that is low and inside, ball 1. Perhaps the most dramatic moment of that series was in Game 6. Carlton Fisk was at the plate, and he hit a game-winning home run off the left field foul pole in the 12th inning. Here's the 1-1 pitch, that slice foul out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And when Fisk, when he hit that made that famous shot, he was signaling to keep the ball fair down the left field foul line, and the ball did hit the foul pole for a home run for Boston to win that dramatic game in 12 innings to force a Game 7. Here's the 1-2 pitch, swing and a miss, as Gary strikes out, and that will retire the side for Lakeview in the fourth. So for the Maidens in the fourth, no runs on, 1 hit, and an error, 1 man, 1 person left. That's Carrillo at first base. So at the end of 4, our score, it is Snyder 10 and Lakeview 0. We'll pause for a quick break, and we'll be right back in just a moment. This is Lakeview Maidens Softball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union.
We all want to get back to the way things used to be. Going to concerts, cheering for our teams in a packed stadium, dancing the night away with our friends. But if we truly want things to go back to the way they were, we need everyone to come together. Wash your hands.
The Federal Credit Union, as we'll now head into the top half of the fifth. As for Snyder, leading by a score of 10-0, 10 runs on 9, is now hit number 10 in the game for Snyder. So this brings up Alyssa Hurt, the pitcher, as Hurt in that 4th inning. She singled to left field and scored. Grounded to short in the first and struck out in the second. So Alyssa Hurt is 1 for 3 today. There's the first pitch. A fastball that is up and in, ball 1. But Hurt has been very dangerous in the pitcher's circle today through 4 innings of work. She has retired 10 out of 14 batters. And she has fanned 8 Lakeview hitters today. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Swing on a chopper, foul wide of third. 1 ball and 1 strike. Well, we were talking about that 75 World Series prior to the break in that last inning, is that in Game 7, the Cincinnati Reds, they defeated Boston 4-3 at Fenway Park to capture the World Series, as Pete Rose was the most valuable player in that 75 series. And the Reds, they won it the next year as they swept the New York Yankees. Here's the 1-1 pitch, which goes to the backstop, and advancing to second base is Galvin. So now it's 2 balls and a strike, and for Snyder, they have a runner in scoring position with nobody out. And for Snyder, they lead by a count of 10-0 here in this top half of the 5th. Nobody out here from Maiden Field. Here's the 2-1 pitch. That's outside, 3 balls and a strike. As Pete Rose, of course, is baseball's all-time hit king with 4,256 hits. He just celebrated a birthday last week. He now turns 80 years young. Here's the 3-1 pitch. That's a fastball. That's out in fastball, high and in, ball 4. And that is another walk issued by Tatum McGarry. So now for Snyder, they have runners on first and second. And for McGarry, that is now her 5th walk she has allowed today. And the first pitch to Maya Brazil is outside for ball 1. As Brazil today, Maya Brazil, she's 2 for 3. Infant hit single and scored in the first. Bounced out to second in the second inning and double to left field, an RBI double, and scored in the 4th. So she is 2 for 3 and 2 runs scored. Here's the 1-0 pitch. That's a called strike down the pipe. 1 ball and a strike. As for Snyder, they have runners on first and second. Nobody out. Top half of the 5th. They lead 10-0. Galvin led off the frame with a single down the third baseline, and Alyssa Hurt just walked. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Swinging a fly ball into left field. Sails over the head of Villa. Now rounding third is Galvin. She scores. Now rounding third is Alyssa Hurt. She also scores. That is now 12-0. So for Maya Brazil, a 2-run double to deep left field. 2-run score. It's 12-0 Snyder. And now going to third is Brazil, so give her a triple. So that's a triple for Maya Brazil. Now this brings up Garcia with nobody out and the top half of the 5th. Garcia today, she is 0 for 2, walked and scored in the first, flat out to the center fielder Velez in the third, and hit a comebacker to O'Gary in the 4th. Swinging a ground ball, which goes into left field for another base hit as Maya Brazil scores, and it's now 13-0. And now, advancing to second is Garcia, so give her a double. So the runs still keep coming in here. As for Snyder, they lead 13-0. 11 hits now for Snyder in this game. Here now is Aaliyah Brazil. As Aaliyah, she has scored 2 runs today. And now the first pitch goes all the way to the backstop. And advancing to third is Garcia. So now in this 5th, they scored 3 runs on 3 hits. And a walk. And they have a runner at third base, leading 13-0 with 11 hits in the game. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Outside, a snap throw to third, which gets past Martinez, and advancing to home is Garcia. So that's another error. Error on the catcher. And that's 4 errors in the game for Lakeview. And the count's now 2 balls and no strikes. So it's now 14-0. Snyder on top. As our scoreboards are now looking quite messy here on the Snyder end. Here's the 2-0 pitch. That's a called strike on the outside edge. 2 balls and a strike. 14 runs on 11 hits for Snyder. No runs on 3 hits, 4 errors for Lakeview. With nobody out here in the top half of the 5th. Here's the 2-1 pitch. That's a curveball in there for a called strike. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Boy, it's a tough outing for Tatum McGarry with an 8-12 record and a 5.00 earned run average. Here's the 2-2 pitch, which one hops in front of the plate 3 balls and 2 strikes. So for Snyder, they've scored 4 runs in the first, 6 in the fourth, and now they have tacked on 4 more here in the fifth with nobody out. There's the 3-2 pitch, and that is low and away. Ball 4. That is now walk number 6 issued by Tatum McGarry. So they now have a runner on first, and this brings up Madrid, the third baseman. Madrid, in her last at-bat, reached on an error committed by Taylor Martinez at third. She scored. She walked in the third. And on the first pitch, she hits a fly ball into shallow right field, and that's dropped by Reeves. That's another error. And advancing to second base is Aaliyah Brazil. So Madrid hits a fly ball, so that is an error on Reeves. E9. Error number 5 on the day for Lakeview. So for Snyder, they have runners on first and second. This brings up Gabby Hernandez, the designated player. As Hernandez today is 1 for 3, singled to left field in the first, reached base on an error by Taylor Martinez in the second, squares up the bunt, punches that one foul wide of third for strike 1, and then in the fourth, grounded out to the shortstop, Lacey. So for Snyder in this fifth, 4 runs on 3 hits and 2 errors. Here's the 0-1 pitch, goes to the backstop, and advancing. Going to third is Aaliyah Brazil, and down the trail at second now is Madrid, and the count's 1 ball and 1 strike. So what a way, unfortunately, for Lakeview to end their regular season here. Now down 14-0 here in the top half of the fifth, nobody out. And for Snyder, they have runners on second and third, and they are looking for more. Here's the 1-1 pitch. That is outside and high, 2 balls and a strike. Well, it is a beautiful day here in San Angelo on this Friday afternoon, as the wind is blowing from right field to left field. Here is the 2-1 pitch. Curveball is a called strike. On the outside corner, it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. As for Tatum McGarry, this is not a way to end the season for her. And now the pitch goes to the backstop. And now the runner scores as Aaliyah Brazil scores and Madrid also scores. And the score is now 16-0. 16-0 as 2 more runs score as Aaliyah Brazil and Madrid, they score. 6 runs have been tacked on by Snyder in this top half of the fifth, and there are no outs. So for Snyder, my goodness, 4 runs in the first, 6 runs in the fourth, and 6 more here in the fifth. The lead 16-0, and that's a football score. But hey, we're here at Maiden Field, and we are playing Lakeview Maidens softball here on this Friday afternoon. And this brings up, again, Gabby Hernandez. 3 balls and 2 strikes is the count now with the bases clean. Here's the pitch, swinging a high pop fly, right side, and it's caught by Williams, the second baseman, for out number 1. So Hernandez pops out to Williams at second, 1 out. This brings up Saley Hernandez, the right fielder. Saley Hernandez today is 1 for 3. She hit an RBI single to left field in the fourth in her last at bat. There's the first pitch. That's a fastball, high and away, ball 1. Saley grounded out to Taylor Martinez in the third and grounded out to the shortstop Lacey to retire the side in the first. Here's the 1-0 pitch, swinging a line drive into left field, and it's caught by Villa in left field, and we have 2 outs here in this top half of the fifth. And this brings up the leadoff hitter, Aya Evils, the second baseman. And today, she has 1 for 4. She popped out to second base in her last at-bat. Here's the first pitch. That's a fastball low and away off the plate for ball 1. She singled and scored in the fourth. Grounded out to Williams, the second baseman, in the second, and hit a comebacker to a Gary in the first to begin the game. Here's a 2-0 pitch, swinging a fly ball into right field, which drops in for a base hit. So that is another hit for Snyder in this fifth inning. And now Galvin will be the 11th player to hit for Snyder in this top half of the fifth with 2 outs, and they lead 16-0. That is their 4th hit in this inning alone. 6 runs on 4 hits and 2 errors. Here is Galvin at the plate, and the first pitch is high and inside at the letters for ball 1. 12 hits in the game for Snyder. 16-0 is our score. Snyder in total command on this Friday afternoon, swinging a ground ball, gets past the third baseman Martinez, and now advancing to second base is Evils. So Evils goes to second on a single to down the left field line, gets past Martinez. So there's now 13 hits in the game. And this brings up Alyssa Hurt. Is the 12th batter to come up for Snyder in this top half of the 5th inning. Alyssa Hurt has scored twice today. Here's the first pitch, swinging a one-hopper to the shortstop, off Lacey, and the runners are safe, so that'll be an error. Charge to the shortstop, Lacey. That is an E6, and the bases are loaded. That is, unfortunately, sorry about that, Mr. Lacey. Yes, sir. Error number 6 on the game for Lakeview. And this brings up Maya Brazil. Maya Brazil has scored in today's game. Swing a high fly ball to left, and she makes to retire this. So not before Snyder. They score a total of 6 runs.